This is the second small group discussion with J. Krishnamurti in Gstaad, 1965.
So where do we start?
We said we'd go on with what we were doing last time. So.
What did we do? I must get hold of it.
We were talking about that margin between thought which coincides with fact and the thought which doesn't coincide with fact, which is unnecessary.
Yes.
And since they are really the same thought, the same kind of thought, we become entangled. Thought is necessary in certain places, in certain circumstances, and in other circumstances there seems to be no real dividing line between the two. I think you can say it much better.
No clear dividing line,
but it's the same thought which operates to identify that as a microphone,
yes,
and which operates to feel about somebody who insulted you yesterday and so on. How to know how to live in such a way that without really a dividing line, but nevertheless without trouble, without
No, we went further than
malfunction.
that.
We went further than that.
Much further than that, didn't we?
we went into this question of, well, we touched on the question of time, and then we went into the question of this center, I don't know what you call it, core or experiencer, which seems to be the source of the problem.
Yes.
Because there is something that seems very real and precious, which is really thought.
Tired out, I can't get it.
Somebody said that thought was detrimental,
Yes.
and we said that we had never really said to ourselves
Yes.
that thought
yes.
is
Had we
detrimental.
really said to ourselves,
Yes.
that's all.
Yes, and then what? How did we proceed from there?
And we said, why haven't we ever said to ourselves that thought is detrimental?
Detrimental, and we dare not. Yes, yes, yes.
And do we know that it's detrimental?
Yes, and we have never dared to ask ourselves why it is, if it is detrimental, and when it is detrimental, have we asked ourselves, do we dare ask ourselves?
Yes, that's
Yes.
It seemed to me that it would be more, in my case, to say not the question of dare, but it seems there's a kind of skepticism as to whether thought is detrimental. In other words,
Yes.
With what
Right.
quality do we say that? How do we say
Yes.
that?
and rather one hasn't reached the stage of saying whether you're daring or not, but the mind responds skeptically.
Kept quite. So why is there this feeling of skepticism? Or, can put it on the other way, why don't we see it immediately? Why do we have to go through skepticism, then see the falsity of that, then come back to another thing, and so on, so on. Why can't we see the thing immediately? You understand? So why can't I see thought is destructive except when it is essential? In any other field where it is not essential, it is destructive.
Yes, but one doesn't see that it's not essential.
Now, why? Why? Let's talk about that a little bit. Why don't we see it? Is it a matter of experience, habit, and then acceptance? You know what I mean? Experience, seeing, yes, that is so, and then getting into that habit of thinking or non-thinking, and then accepting it. I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
We want an interval of time to become accustomed to the idea.
Yeah, accustomed to the idea.
So that, because that's the way we often work.
Well, now why don't we see the thing immediately? You see, I can't go through that. I mean, talking as an individual sitting over there, that person can't go through all that. He sees it immediately.
There are some things that take time to see.
No, wait, here it is. We are taking this as an example, as a thing. Why is it that we don't see that thought is destructive in a certain field or in many fields and end it?
We conceive as non-thought as a sort of vacuum in which we cannot imagine ourselves, or we cannot enter into. We pull back from it as though there is no reference within it to which we can...
Yes, Mrs. Sibylis, but that's not... Why is it that we don't see it instantly?
Is it because we're using thought to try and see it?
I think there arises a kind of a feeling of directed toward preserving pleasure in it.
Also, we have very varying notions about what is essential and what is unessential.
No. I mean, we have discussed the other day sufficiently clearly enough to see the poisonous nature or the dangerous or the destructive or deteriorating factor of thought on the other side of the margin. Intellectually, verbally, logically, we see that. Then why don't I say, yes, it is unfinished? Why must I discuss the thing over and over and over again to be quite sure? It is so. And whenever thought occurs on that side, it has no substance. You follow what I mean? It has no rule to take. It finishes immediately. It rises, disappears. So I'm just asking myself, why is it that we don't see the thing immediately? Is it laziness? Is it lack of attention, interest, a sense of urgency, lack of urgency, and so on? So we can, but at the end of these explanations or justifications, you are still where we are.
Is it partly like a fish coming out of the water? It seems lost, and that's the way one feels.
All right. Then what? You follow?
Yes.
Why don't you see?
Yes.
That's an explanation you have given me.
Yes.
I can say, well, I'm lazy.
Yes.
And somebody else says, I don't feel the urgency of it. Somebody else says, I have no interest. And so on and on and on. At the end of it, we have the question still unanswered.
if one mistakes it, though, then one tends to not use thinking where one should use it, and get confused. You know, if one has not got this in the right way, then one tends to...
All right, so let's talk about it a little more then.
We don't see an alternative because we're still looking with thought, it seems to me. We think we have to have an alternative. We're unable to act without something else to grab hold of, because the same thing is still operating.
When do you use thought? I mean, when do you deliberately say, I must think this out? Or you don't think out at all, but just act. Because the action is habitual, familiar, you are accustomed to it. Therefore, you don't think but act. But when do you think? Have you deliberately ever sat down and said, well, let me think this out?
I don't have a problem.
Huh?
When
Have you done it?
results
I mean, no. I know when you do it, but have you done it?
About various things, yes.
Have you?
About various things. Like
Have you?
buying shoes or...
All right, have you? When you buy shoes, there are half a dozen shoes spread out in front of you, and you say, well, I look at it, I don't like that color, I like this color, that's about my size, and that's too expensive, I better take that.
Yes.
Where is thought?
Isn't that thought all...
Maybe is that thought?
That's discovery, I think.
No, don't confuse it. Is that thought?
thought.
All right, it's a kind of thought.
Yes.
So I'm asking, when do you use it? Are you aware you're using it?
There is the other sort where you want to solve a problem logically and you think step by step, one step leading to another.
And then what? Does that solve the problem?
No, at the end something...
Yes. Some other factor comes in, not your thinking has
But
done.
there is a sort of leading up to it.
So, leading up to it.
Yeah.
But need you lead up to it for another factor to take place?
No.
Well, I don't know.
And then,
Surely,
I
in
don't
some
know.
things one does.
wait,
To sort of clarify the situation, what's involved.
now, wait. We are doing that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Are we thinking?
Yes, we are.
No, Dave, don't answer me yet. Are we?
Well, there's a sort of searching out for some... It's a sort of... It's something one is aware of and one has always thought of as thought.
Look,
It's not
may
like
I-
choosing the shoes. That's
No,
it's a
Miss
different
Bob,
sort of
just a
thing.
minute. I say, I asked you, are you aware, or do you know when you are thinking?
Oh, I see what you mean. I understand now. It's you don't look at yourself thinking. It's Yes.
When you say, well, I have a problem, my wife has beaten me, I have a problem.
I don't beat.
And do I think it out? Logically, so she's beaten me because yesterday I was angry, and now she's taking it out of me, and all the rest of it. Do I think it out that way? What do we mean by thinking?
Well, usually when one is thinking, there's a whole lot of other things behind as well, which are colouring it and confusing it.
No, Monroe, you tell me, what do you mean by thinking?
Well, for instance, take the microphone. Now, if one sees the microphone there,
Look what you're doing. Are you thinking? Are you telling me what my question? I am asking you, please tell me,
yes,
because I don't know what thinking is.
yes.
Wait a minute. Please, I say I don't know, but I may know. I say to you, please tell me what you mean by thinking.
Mhm. Yes. And you want me to say what?
Yes, help me.
Well, first of all seeing what, trying to see what the question is.
No, don't bring in the
That's thinking,
examples. Tell me what thinking is.
It seems to be the bringing together, the searching out of a lot of different.
You stop a minute. When do you deliberately set about to think? Or when do you think? Or when are you aware that you are thinking? Or thinking is going on all the time? All the time. When you see that lamp, when you see the, hear the sound,
Yes.
thinking. And when a crisis arises, you proceed with your thinking in relation to that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, and then try to solve the problem,
Yes.
all the rest of it.
Yes.
So, the thinking process is what is thinking? A reaction,
Yes.
a watching, a listening, a interpreting, judging, recognizing, evaluating, resisting, responding, affection, non-affection is going on all the time. Am I aware of all that?
No.
Don't be so quick. Am I aware of all that? If I am aware, then I know I'm unraveling. Like taking a spool of thread and pulling it. Am I aware of all this? Or I'm only aware that that I have to think when somebody when somebody asks me to do something and I don't want to do or I can't do. I'm just trying to find out when I become conscious, when I become conscious that I am thinking. It's only this machinery of recognition, all that, which is going on all the time. When that comes to an end, when faced with a problem, when faced with an issue, when faced with a mathematical, scientific, personal or impersonal problem, national problem, so on, so on, when that machinery comes to an end, in front of a problem, then I say to myself, I must think about this. Right or not?
When it's inadequate, it deals.
And no, it's not adequate, inadequate. We have to decide something. And there's the urgency of decision. So I begin to think about it. What should I do? Should I talk to this man, to that man? Should this be put there? Should this not be put there? And so on, so on, so on. Before that, there is the machinery has been going on all the time, buzzing, making humming noise. That humming stops when you ask me, decide this. Then I have to think about it. Right, sir? Am I saying things right?
Yes.
I want to find out when I think. And I know I'm thinking all the time. All the time. I look at a tree, don't look at a tree. All the time the machinery is going on and on and on. That I'm not conscious of. And when I become conscious of something, then I say I must think about it. Right, sir?
change in the thinking process, that you are conscious of the change.
Yes, conscious only when I'm forced to. When I have an issue.
When the thinking process doesn't, meets a contradiction, isn't there a trouble?
Yes, put it that way, yes.
And one would have a feeling one would like the thinking process to go on without trouble all the time.
Yes, 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 yes. You see, I don't want to think. I like to live in this hum. With this hum about looking at a tree, woman, man, child, colors, just go on and on and on. And I don't want to think, because that's my habit, that's my machinery.
So what we are there. So I don't want this other kind of thinking.
Now, wait. When an issue arises, then I'm forced to look at it. And that I call thinking. Right? Then my thinking is inadequate to that, or adequate and I can resolve it.
Or are you trying to say that's not thinking? Right?
That's what I want to find out.
We're confusing thinking
Yeah.
and not thinking.
Not thinking. Huh?
It's very interesting because one has always thought
Yes.
the other way around.
Is the thing that we call thinking at all?
It is a question of terminology, because you see, some people would say that's thinking, and the other is just something else. I mean, they would
Which is thinking?
What?
The hum that's going on all day,
Yes.
night and day. Huh? Is that thinking?
That's an automatic response.
Yeah, there is no conscious, deliberate awareness of that process, of that momentum. If the mind becomes aware of that, you follow, sir? Then, when the problem arises, when a crisis arises, what takes place? I don't know if I'm getting. You follow, sir, what I'm talking? If I am conscious, aware of this machinery which is going on night and day, of which I am unconscious, if I become conscious of it, aware of it, then what takes place in relation to a problem which arises when thought has to be used or not used? I don't know.
It seems to me you're trying to say that we have this background process, and then comes a problem.
Yes.
We confuse thought with this problem, with what is needed for the problem. Now, therefore, we in some way are mixing the background process up with
Right, sir.
what
We'll
we really
use
need
that.
to do, right?
Right. There is the background going on.
Noise.
Background. And that background, of which I'm unconscious, and I have to face an issue. Do I face an issue with the background of that noise, or do I face the issue without that noise? And if I become aware of that noise, then when a problem arises, how do I deal with it? It must be entirely different. I don't know if, right, sir?
Yes. See, we're in the habit of looking at this.
Yes.
When we face a problem, we try to find the answer in the noise, perhaps.
Yeah, yes, that's what I'm trying to get at.
And in fact, that's not the place to find the answer.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That noise being the result of memory.
that's going on. can the mind become aware of this total noise, total background, and in becoming total aware of the totality of this background, when a problem arises, how does it deal with it? You follow, sorry? Are the two things separate?
Which two things?
Huh?
Which two things?
The problem
Yeah.
and the unconscious. Not the mind becoming aware of the total background, total noise.
And the problem.
Do we separate the problem from the total noise? You follow what I mean? No, wait a minute, let me get it. I see what. Wait, let's begin. There is the noise going on in the background. I'm not aware of it. Then a problem arises, and I have to think about it. I think with the noise.
Yes.
I think from the background.
Yes. I hope the answer is in the noise.
Yes, within the noise. Understood. We've settled that. Then mind becomes aware of the total noise, not just fragments of the totality of the whole thing, if it can. Now, when it becomes totally aware of the background, is there a thinking when a problem arises? Or out of total, whatever that is, awareness, your problem is not a problem. I don't know if I'm... Let me go at it. It's very clear, isn't it, sir? Very interesting.
Is there a problem besides the noise?
Yes, that's it.
Isn't the noise the problem?
Or the noise becomes the problem, translated in different ways, interpreted in different ways, or is put in different ways.
You said that the noise makes the problem because it gives a wrong perception.
The noise is dealing with the problem.
Yeah.
Well, I said the noise. When you say the problem is originally due to the fact that the noise doesn't need it.
Yes.
This automatic response is not sufficient.
Yes, sir.
And now, then it stops for a moment. Then we still believe the answer is in the noise, so we continue the problem in a different way.
So.
And we say that's thinking. Right?
Yes, sir. That's right.
We twist the problem around into this shape or that shape. Right?
That's right.
It's the noise which creates challenge.
Makes a challenge into the challenge.
If the noise didn't exist, the problem wouldn't exist.
And now don't make a statement. Don't make any conclusion. Don't make a statement. We are exposing it.
You see, there might be some. Suppose, for example, you had a problem which was how to make a certain thing work. Do you see? I mean, you would say, I don't know how to make this machine work, or what's wrong with it.
Right.
So, and it takes a certain thought and knowledge to see the answer to that. I mean, it seems that there is a thought which is not noise then.
That's what I want. Gradually, let's get that clear to ourselves, sir.
So, therefore, if we look at this machine or whatever it may be, and something, and then we see how it works, and we see how to set it right.
Yes. So, sir, I want to be clear the question for myself first. I'm not trying to say you're right or wrong. There is this noise, we'll call that for the moment, the background, all that. The noise is going on all the time. Of that noise, I'm not aware. I am aware only when a problem arises. And I try to deal with that problem with the noise. And that I call thinking. Right? That's what we call generally thinking.
But there might be another kind of...
That's what we generally call it. I don't know. So I say to myself, that's very clear. That map is very clear. And what happens when I'm aware of this hum, this noise, incessantly going on? Not in fragments, but see the whole thing all at once, right? Then the noise is not different from me, from the observer who looks at the noise as an observer, but the observer is the noise, right?
Well, I didn't quite clear.
There is noise going on inside.
Noise, that's clear, yes.
How do I look at that noise? As an observer? As something apart from me? Or see the noise as the observer? The observer is the noise.
I can see that the observer is keeping the noise going.
Yes, it is the whole cycle.
Yes, or he's part of the cycle of the noise.
Noise, that's right. Now, when he sees that, when a problem, will there be a problem arising?
Well, suppose we come back to this machine that we want to repair.
Yes. Yes.
Is that necessarily a problem?
Well, it's not necessarily psychological. I mean, it may be necessary to repair it, and we don't know how. You see, how will you describe it?
And I either do or don't repair it.
But the so-called noise is applicable. I mean, certain things in it are relevant to the machine in this case.
No, I think the noise and the machine are quite separate. I'll either know how to repair the machine, or I won't.
We may discover how to repair it. Yes.
I can discover it. That's not noise. Because
But it is a kind of thought.
yes, it's the same sort of thing.
Activated.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be knowledge because you might have to discover it without
It's
any
using
knowledge.
concepts of knowledge that are already in
Not
the brain.
necessarily. You might have to discover it quite. It might be a sort of thing that needs something entirely new to discover. I mean, if you go to not a simple machine, but something that really needs a
You may
sort
need
of
some
creative,
other
a
factor, but
creative
still you
sort
are
of
within the
thought.
realm of things you've
Yes.
learned about.
Dave, are you saying, is there a sort of creative
Well,
thought?
I'm saying that one point is that we may need a kind of at least inventive thought in the sense that, well, not really to repair a machine, but let's say you want to invent a machine, that's another step. And then you might want to see something in an entirely different light, you see. Now, so there are all sorts of levels of thought that I can see.
Yes, sir.
And in all of this, it's very clear that the noise gets in the way. You see that if you approach a mechanical or scientific problem with the noise, then you become confused because either the past theory gets in the way or your ambition gets in the way. The noise may contain ambition, the desire to succeed, fear,
personal problems.
personal problems, and it also may contain,
Boredom,
it's wound up with all
numbness.
sorts of past ideas that you don't want to
All
give
that.
up. And this noise contains an urge to do something which conditions the observer. Is that which
Right, sir.
it's not a fact.
Right.
Now we've said that anything which is a fact, any thought which is part of the fact has no urge.
Yes, that's right.
See, if I say I have a tremendous urge to produce this theory, to repair this machine for various reasons, then I become frightened. I can't think.
Right.
But if when one watches the noise, then the urge will die down, and then it seems that another kind of thought can appear. Would you call that thought?
Yes, that's right.
Isn't part of our problem that within the so-called noise there are
Now,
certain
shall we try something, sir? Which is, I have not become aware of the noise. Let's begin with that. What happens when you become aware of it?
Well, I think you don't like it.
I don't know. No. There are several things involved in there. There is like and dislike, keeping and rejecting, and the observer watching.
The observer watching the noise. Yes.
No. So
Apparently
those
watching.
huh?
Apparently
watching. Right. Apparently watching. Those are all involved in that. Then what takes place? Then you come and tell me, look, you're looking at it from pleasure and pain point. Reject that, if you can. And also you say the division between the observer and the thing observed is apparent, not real.
Well, in the sense that the observer is connected. And
Of course, he is related to the thing. Yes,
keeping
of
it
course.
moving.
Yes, he is that thing.
Well, that's quite. I mean, I see it as a cycle. That
Yes, right, it doesn't matter. I will use that for the moment. It's a cycle. Right. So don't separate yourself from that. It's a movement. At one moment it is you who are looking at it and think you are the observer, but it's a movement.
It's a movement going in a cycle.
Circle, right.
And it goes out to what I observe and
It comes, right. It's back and forth. Now, you've stated that to me very clearly, and I verbally, logically understand that very clearly. Then what takes place? Doesn't the hum come to an end? Because you have removed this, you have undone the structure. You have broken up the structure.
The urge.
Not the urge, the structure of the noise and the meaning of that noise. And that we have called thinking, haven't we?
Well, yes, generally, very rarely is thinking ever occurred without that.
Yeah, yes, right. Very early thinking. Now, if that noise has come to an end, what is then thinking? Is there another form of thinking?
That's the question.
Yeah, that's it. Or there is no so-called thinking in quotes, but only action in relation to the fact. Therefore, when the fact arises, there is action, not thinking.
Well, suppose we were to come back to this machine that we wanted to
Yes,
repair then.
yes,
We say the
yes,
fact is that
yes,
The machine
yes,
is
sir.
broken.
the machine is broken and
Yes.
The action is.
we take action to learn what has gone wrong, right? And to repair it.
I don't want to repair it.
Oh, but suppose you want to. I mean,
What's the point of repairing it? Keep this hum going?
no, I meant not that machine, but I meant the,
Wait a minute, there may be no other machine.
I don't understand that. I mean,
It's
suppose
a-
you
wait.
have a car, you see, which is not functioning.
Wait. Let's get this clear again. You have helped me to undo the structure. And it's gone. It's broken down. And there is no repairing that now. I can't repair it by any amount. Huh?
No.
Going to church I can't repair it. And so, what has happened? either the mind is frightened, or it is in a state of complete void. I'm not frightened. Because I say, yes, this is so, it's stupid to carry on this game of so-called thinking. It's finished. I'm in a state of void, right? Not blank, but the machinery, yes, the machinery which used to make noise and to which the brain and my whole being has become accustomed to, suddenly has gone to peace, suddenly stopped. There's a sense of extraordinary, when a dynamo in the basement stops working, there's sudden stillness in the house.
Tremendous silence.
Right. And I can't repair it. And I don't want to repair it. Now, that's so. What takes place next? Then a problem arises. Yes, I have to decide something. Then what is the relationship of a mind whose structure of thinking has been broken up? How does that mind meet the problem? Right, sir? Or there is no problem to that mind. Problem being uncertainty, fear, by Jove, I don't know how to do, what to do, it should be done, should not be done. So problem may be the accentuation of the noise. Right, sir? Sudden noise which becomes the problem. More intensified noise. So, when the hum of the machinery in the house basement has stopped and cannot be repaired, and there is no need to be repaired, then there is a void, there is a sudden silence. In that silence, a problem has no existence because it is everything is a fact and action. Right, sir?
In the sense that no fact creates an urge, which is insoluble.
That's right. That's right. Therefore, action may be non-action. You force.
Yes.
I don't know, right?
Yes. Wonderful.
And I said to my Joe, I see this very clearly. Can I live that way? Right, sir? Not because I want to live. Pleasure and bringing all that stupid stuff. I asked my Joe, I see what has taken place. Extraordinary sense of release. A sense of an immense silence because of the damn machinery has come to an end. It's been broken up. And nobody can put it together. And I certainly don't want it to be put together. And action is inaction, and therefore any fact is only a fact. You follow, sir?
So is action being inaction?
Inaction.
Now, does that mean that you don't take an action toward a goal, but rather action is natural?
Natural. And action may be so completely inactive, it has its own effect. I don't know. Wait, let me. I'm fussing around a little bit in it. I mean, I don't want to bring up the positive and all that kind of stuff. I see the noise in the basement has come to an end, and there is in the house immense silence. The house, you follow, sir? The basement, the top floor, second floor, third floor, the whole thing is silent. And I am not outside the house, right? Entering the house, how silent the house is.
What?
I don't enter from the outside and say how silent the house is. Because I am the house. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. So what happens? Then what is action then? Because I have to live. I have to speak. I have to, a dozen things I have to do. Then what is action? I got it. All that is non-action. Right, sir? The doing, getting up, cleaning, going to the office, is inaction. There is no, it's a routine. I don't, in the sense, I've given my thought to it, there is no more to it, I've finished with it. So the doing as life is inaction.
I mean, letting things go.
Yes, that's finished.
Yeah, you go to the office.
But there is the other action, I don't think.
Yes, the noise action.
No, not a noise action. I'm out of it.
What action was that?
Which other action do you mean?
Right, I'm getting it right. Huh? You got it? Has somebody got it? You got it, sir. No?
Maybe.
So, look, I get up in the morning, I have to do all the things, see people work, write letters, discuss, etc. There is nothing to it. There is no tremendous creative action in it. Right? So it is inaction as living. Part of that, right? Now, therefore I say, what is then action? I know what's inaction.
You said that living is rather like breathing.
Like breathing, yes. Yes, finished. I'm not going to bother about it anymore. Except when I become ill, then I do something about it. That's a different matter. So, then what is action? I know what inaction is. If you can use that word, if you and I have understood what it means, we've communicated with each other, and so we have understood each other. Then I say, what is action? Is all life this inaction? Or is there action in which inaction is included? Right, sir? Huh? Not included, is part of it.
So there's a creative action which includes the
Inaction.
inaction.
Yeah.
And which is in fact the inaction.
Huh?
And which is in fact inaction.
Yes, part of the whole thing. I don't want to, you follow, just let's leave it there for the moment. I think so, don't you? The important thing in this is the complete silence that takes place when the machinery in the house has stopped. Right?
That allows clarity of perception.
Yes. When there is all that. Why am I concerned about action then? Huh? I say to myself, but with that state, how can I live? In this complete silence, how can I live? I have to go to the office, I have to go to buy things, do this and do that. How am I to live that way? Right? Why can't I? Move, act from there. Right?
But the everyday things that we do, the going to the office and everything, that has come about because of the noise.
I know, that has come about because I've got to live. I've got to go, I've got to sow seed and cultivate, and I must live there. I must have food.
Yes, but the kind of office.
That is the result of better food, more money, more.
It's history.
Yes, but it isn't as born of the noise.
And I wouldn't call that noise.
There may be chaos in it, but we don't have to respond with chaos inside.
Of course,
I mean,
of course.
In other words, from the creative action, it is possible to see the chaos without becoming chaotic.
Yes, that's right. Put it that way. That's right.
But you see, now we mentioned that being ill. I mean, can you this go on also when you're ill?
Huh?
Is it possible to move to act creatively when you're ill?
I think so. Ill being when your energy is very, very low.
There's no stillness anyway. It's aggravated by the chatter.
Exactly.
So if the chatter weren't there, there perhaps wouldn't be so much of what we call illness.
One gets old just the same.
Sir, what takes place when the hum in the house has come to an end? Knowing that it can never be repaired, never be put together, finished. If that doesn't take place, action, inaction, you follow? Creativeness, not creative, when there is no energy, what is? All those questions will arise. You see, that silence which is in the house, is action, isn't it? It is tremendous action, movement.
Yes, it's creating and dissolving.
Yeah, it is movement.
Yeah.
Every problem is absorbed, dissolved. You follow?
Also the problems of illness.
And it adjusts itself. That is the real root of this question. Can the mind, can this whole structure which is noise, to which the mind, the heart, the feel, everything is accustomed to, therefore unaware, and suddenly becomes aware of it, and in becoming aware of it, justifying it as pleasure or not pleasure. accepting it or rejecting as pleasure or non-pleasure. If it doesn't do any of that, then the machinery is bound to come to an end. Which doesn't mean I become a monk in a monastery so
That's another kind of machine.
so washed out. On the contrary, there is tremendous quietness. And out of that quietness, when there is something has to be thought out, it thinks out. If not, it's out of that thinks out.
This includes the rational thought. Right?
Rational thought, not irrational, rational thought.
Without edges. Where you say that rational thought is the same as the rest of living. I mean, part of the breathing.
Quite. Yes, part of living.
Yeah.
Therefore, living becomes not a contradiction.
I mean, you're doing rational thought just as you walk and breathe.
That's right, it becomes not a contradiction.
But if you see you've made a mistake, it changes.
It changes. I change it. There is a change. No regret, no thing by joy, which I haven't done it.
But can I ask you that a relationship between
People.
in this context is also just like this breathing and inaction.
Yes.
Yes, this is
In which there is no
something
attachment, no jealousy. You
so
find
it's
all that's
very
gone.
hard for me to
Yes.
see well, I see it, but it's hard for me to.
Right.
I reject it. You see, it's.
No, that's why I think we ought to get at this first thing, which is the essence of it, which is the dynamo to which we have accustomed to. The house is the dynamo, and to become aware of it and to see the nature of it and undo it and not put it together is the real thing. After that, everything is.
Just that
You see, sir, it's very interesting. I was talking to somebody who has tried to get at this silence of the house. And he's been to Zen monasteries, various promises of various institutions. And he's hardened himself in these monasteries. Monasteries where they open out inside or outside. And he's so also heavy with it. He can't go beyond it. And that may be the case with most of us. He says, I've got this silence. The way, you can't get it. I've practiced it, I've lived it, I know.
Yeah, that's all part of the night.
Yeah, that's it. time, sir?
12:30.
Oh, that's stop. Do we meet again?
As you think so.
Yes, sir.
Well, we have 10 minutes.
When do you leave, sir?
Not for quite some time, actually.
Oh.
And